Hi, Emma. I'm glad you're here today. Take your time. You're safe. Whenever you're ready, you can tell me what your heart has been carrying.
It's it's been a year, but it still feels like yesterday. The pain hasn't softened. If anything, sometimes it feels sharper.
Tell me what hurts the most.
The guilt, the constant thought that I caused it, the miscarriage, the loss, that maybe it happened because at first I didn't want that baby. I know it sounds horrible. I know it makes me sound ungrateful or cruel, but when I first saw that positive test, all I felt was panic. Pure panic.
Emma, I'm here to listen, not to judge. What did that moment feel like inside your body?
Heavy. Suffocating. Like the air was too thick. I had two little kids already. My youngest was barely 1.5. I was exhausted every day. Physically, emotionally, mentally. No family near us, no help. My husband always at work. I felt like I was drowning most days. And when I realized I was pregnant again, I thought, I can't do this. I won't survive this. I felt ashamed for thinking that, but it was the truth.
You were overwhelmed. And overwhelmed mothers often feel fear before they feel acceptance. That's human.
But that fear, those thoughts, I keep thinking they somehow caused it. Like my body listened to the fear instead of the love I didn't have time to feel yet.
Thoughts can't cause a miscarriage. Fear can't cause a miscarriage. Exhaustion can't cause a miscarriage. What happened wasn't something you created. It was something that happened to you.
I wish I could believe that, but every time I close my eyes, I replay everything. Every moment when I felt annoyed, every time I said, I'm not ready, every single time my body felt tired and I mentally wished for a break, and then at 10 weeks it just stopped. The heartbeat and the guilt hasn't stopped since.
What happened the day you found out?
I remember sitting on the cold floor in the bathroom, the doctor's voice still ringing in my ears. I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat. And the world just went silent, like someone pressed mute on my life. And then the guilt started screaming louder than anything. I kept thinking, this is punishment. This is because I didn't want the baby at first.
Punishment. That's a heavy word. Who taught you that mistakes must be punished?
My mother, I guess. She always said life gives harsh lessons. That if you think wrong, wrong things happen.
That wasn't wisdom. That was fear disguised as philosophy. Your loss is not a lesson meant to hurt you.
But it feels like one. I can't shake it off. I can't move past it. And the worst part is, I feel alone in it.
Did you tell your husband how deeply it affected you?
No, he doesn't understand. When I cried about it, he said I was overthinking, that it was meant to be, that we already have two healthy children and should be grateful. He told me to stop dwelling on it. And so I stopped talking.
You shut down to protect your pain.
Because if I kept crying, he'd get frustrated. He'd say I'm too emotional. So I just held it all in for a whole year.
That's a long time to carry heartbreak alone.
I didn't know where else to put it.
Emma, I want to ask you something gently. When you think of what you lost, what exactly do you mourn?
A future. A tiny future I didn't even have time to imagine properly. A new pair of hands to hold. A name I never got to choose properly. A face I'll never see. I didn't even get the chance to fall in love with them fully before they were gone. And that feels cruel. Like grief without memories.
That's one of the hardest types of grief. Loving someone you never met.
Yes.
Tell me what your mind says during the worst moments.
It says, you caused this. You didn't deserve the baby. You should have been happier. You should have fought harder. This happened because of you.
And your heart? What does it say beneath the guilt?
It says I'm broken. It says something is wrong with me.
Emma, guilt is not truth. Guilt is a story we create when something painful feels too big to understand. Grief searches for a villain because the alternative, that this was random and unfair, feels unbearable. But sometimes the truth is exactly that: unfairness without blame.
Then why does it still hurt like I did something terrible?
Because you loved that baby, even if the love arrived slowly. You are not grieving because you're guilty. You're grieving because you're a mother. Your sadness is love with nowhere to go.
That sentence hurts, but it hurts in a different way. A cleaner way.
Sometimes the right truth still hurts, but it no longer accuses you. It just names what is.
So, what do I do with this love, with this sadness?
We'll give it places to go. Right now, it's trapped in circles of what if and it's my fault. We're going to gently move it into I remember and I honor.
What do you mean, honor?
To honor someone is to acknowledge that they existed, they mattered, and they left a mark on your heart, even if their time was very short. You might never have held your baby in your arms, but you carried them in your body and your thoughts. That matters.
No one talks about it like that. People say it was early, it wasn't really a baby yet. You'll have others. And every time they say that, I feel like they're erasing them. Like it was nothing. But to me, it wasn't nothing.
It wasn't nothing. It was something sacred. And people sometimes minimize what they don't understand because they don't know how to stand inside someone else's pain.
Yes, it felt like I had to be strong and reasonable. Like I had no right to grieve too deeply.
You have every right to grieve, whether it's 10 weeks or 10 years. The heart doesn't grieve in units of time. It grieves in units of attachment and meaning.
So, how do I honor them? In real life, not just in my head.
There are many ways. We'll find ones that fit you. But first, I want to touch something important: the facts about miscarriage. Emma, I'm going to say something very clear now. Miscarriages are common. They happen for many reasons: genetics, development problems, health factors, but not because a mother has a thought or a feeling, not because she is scared, not because she is tired, not because she once wished for a break. If fear and exhaustion could end pregnancies, half the world's mothers would never carry to term.
That makes a strange kind of sense.
You were exhausted. You were overwhelmed. You were human. Those are not crimes. Those are conditions. And your body didn't obey your fear. It didn't say, she doesn't want this, I'll end it. Bodies don't work like that. Biology doesn't work like that.
But why did it happen then? Why at that moment?
Because sometimes nature is painfully imperfect. Sometimes things don't form the way they need to. Sometimes we never find the reason, and our minds hate that. We would rather believe I did something wrong than admit this was random, unfair, and out of my control. Because if it was our fault, at least we feel like we had power. Even dark power feels better than no power at all.
I never thought of it that way. Blaming myself feels horrible, but it gives me a kind of twisted sense of control. Like, if it was my fault, then if I suffer enough, maybe I can fix it somehow.
Exactly. But you don't need to keep suffering to prove that you loved that baby. Your love is already proven by your pain.
I am so tired of suffering.
Then maybe it's time to suffer differently. Not with self-punishment, but with honest grief. Grief that says, this hurt me. I miss what could have been. Not, I did this.
I want that. I don't know how, but I want that. We'll go step by step. First, I want us to talk about the part of you that didn't want the baby when you found out. Because she is still inside you, scared and ashamed. She was so tired. All she wanted was to sleep one night without being woken up 3 times, to drink a coffee while it was still hot, to feel like a person, not just a machine.
That doesn't sound like a bad person. That sounds like a burnt-out mother.
She thought, I can't go through pregnancy again. The nausea, the pain, the sleepless nights, the feeding, the crying. I'm barely standing as it is. And then she thought, what kind of mother am I that I don't want my own child? And the shame, it started right there.
So she was exhausted, honest, and ashamed of her own honesty.
Yes.
If you met that version of you now, sitting on a chair across from you, what would you want to tell her?
I'd tell her, you're not a monster. You're just tired. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to feel like you can't handle more. It doesn't mean you don't love your children. It just means you need help.
Could you offer that same compassion to yourself now?
That's the hardest part. I can say it to her in my imagination, but saying it to myself feels almost wrong. Like I don't deserve kindness.
That is the wound talking, not the truth. The wound says, you must be punished. The truth says, you're already hurting. What you need now is care.
Sometimes I imagine the baby, and then I stop myself. I think, you have no right. You didn't want them enough at the beginning. You don't get to dream about them now.
Emma, wanting them later is still wanting them. Love that arrives slower is not less love. Sometimes it's even deeper because it was chosen through fear.
That sentence touches something very deep.
You were in shock at first. Then slowly your heart started to open. And then, just as it did, the loss came. You weren't too late. You were in the middle of a process. And that process was violently interrupted.
So I'm allowed to miss them, even if I was scared at first?
Yes, completely. You are allowed to miss them, love them, grieve them, talk to them, wonder who they would have been, all of it. Fear doesn't cancel love. It just shares the same house for a while. Tell me, does anyone in your life even know the depth of this grief?
No, my husband thinks it's over. He says, it happened, it's done, we can't change it. My friends, I didn't even tell some of them. The few who know, they changed the subject quickly when I talked about it.
So, in a way,
You've been living with a secret funeral inside you. No ceremony, no goodbye, no witnesses.
Yes, exactly. Like a funeral no one came to.
We can begin to change that today. Here in this room, we will attend that funeral together. Not to reopen the wound, but to finally stop pretending it never existed.
Okay.
I'd like to invite you, only if you feel ready, to say a few words to your baby, out loud. They won't answer, of course, but it might help your heart. I'll be right here.
I don't know what to say.
You can start with hi if you want. There's no wrong way. Speak as if they were listening.
Hi, little one. I don't know if you can hear me, but I hope somehow you can. I want you to know that even though I was scared, even though I panicked when I found out about you, it wasn't because of you. It was because I was so tired. I'm sorry I didn't smile when I first saw the test. I'm sorry I cried from fear. I wish I had more time to get used to the idea of you. I wish I had held you, even once. I think about you more often than anyone knows. I imagine what your face would have been like, whether you'd laugh like your brother or your sister. I'm sorry I blamed myself. I'm sorry I believed that you left because of me. I don't know why it happened, but I want you to know I love you. Even if it took me time to feel it fully, I love you.
You're doing beautifully. Take your time.
I miss a future that never happened, and it hurts. And I want you to know that you were not nothing. You were my baby, even if for a short time. And you still are part of me. Always. I hope you're safe, wherever you are.
Thank you, Emma. That was incredibly brave.
It felt strange and right, like something I should have done a long time ago.
Your heart needed to say those words. It needed a witness. I am honored to be one. Now, I'd like to help you build a few small practices, rituals really, that can support your healing in the coming months. Nothing big or dramatic, just gentle anchors.
Okay.
First, I'd like you to choose a small object that represents this baby to you. It could be a candle, a tiny toy, a stone, a piece of jewelry, anything that feels right. This object doesn't replace them. It simply gives your love a place to land.
I think I have a small pendant I never wear. I could use that.
Beautiful. When the grief feels heavy, you can hold it and say one sentence of truth. You existed. You mattered. I remember you.
The trick is to whisk them really well with a little milk or cream and then cook them low and slow.
Second, I'd like you to choose one day each year that will be your remembering day. It might be the day you found out you were pregnant, or the day you lost them, or another meaningful date. On that day, you can light a candle. Write a few lines in a notebook. Sit for 10 minutes and talk to them or to yourself. Not to reopen the wound, but to give your grief a safe container.
So instead of the pain ambushing me, I'll have a place for it to go.
Exactly. The heart feels less haunted when it knows there will be time and space for this. I don't have to carry it all the time.
I like that. I think I'd choose the day of the doctor's visit. It was horrible, but it's the day everything changed. I want to redeem it somehow.
That's a powerful choice. We can talk more about what that day might look like for you. Now, about your husband. Would it feel safe at some point, not necessarily right away, to share a little more of what this has meant to you?
I don't know. He gets overwhelmed when I cry. He shuts down or tries to fix things logically.
What if you didn't ask him to fix it? What if you said something like, I don't need you to solve this. I just need you to know that this still lives in me. 1 or 2 sentences, simple and clear.
Maybe I could say, when I lost the baby, a part of me broke. I know we can't change what happened, but I still need space to grieve. I'm not doing it to hurt you or us. I'm doing it because I loved that baby.
That's beautiful, Emma. Clear and honest. If he can meet you there, even a little, it may help you feel less alone. And if he can't, at least you will have honored your own truth.
I'm scared he'll think I'm stuck in the past.
You're not stuck. You're integrating. There's a difference. You're trying to weave this loss into your story in a way that doesn't crush you. That takes time.
Sometimes I feel guilty for being sad when I have 2 healthy children. I think, how dare you be sad? There are people who can't have any.
Pain is not a competition. Grieving this loss doesn't mean you're ungrateful for the children you have. Love is not either. You can be deeply thankful and deeply sad at the same time.
I needed to hear that.
Let your sadness and your gratitude sit next to each other. They are both real. Before we finish for today, I'd like you to place a hand on your chest, if that feels okay. Feel your heartbeat, steady, present. You are still here. You survived something you thought would break you forever. Now, very softly, repeat after me. I am not a bad mother.
I am not a bad mother.
I am a grieving mother.
I am a grieving mother.
And I deserve compassion too.
And I deserve compassion too.
How does that feel?
Strange and right, like wearing clothes that are new but my size.
Keep trying them on. The more you say these words, the more your heart will begin to believe them.
Thank you for seeing me, for seeing them. I feel a little less alone.
You're not alone, Emma, not anymore. We'll keep walking this path as slowly and gently as your heart needs. If you're listening to Emma's story and something inside you is quietly saying, "This is me," I want you to know this. You are not wrong for still hurting. You are not weak for still crying. You are not ungrateful for grieving a baby you never held in your arms. Miscarriage is not a test you failed, not a punishment, not a sign that you're broken or unworthy. You are allowed to grieve, even if others minimized your loss. You are allowed to miss a future that never became real. You are allowed to remember and to move forward at your own pace. You do not have to choose between loving the children you have and mourning the one you lost. Your heart is big enough for both. Let this be your permission to be gentle with yourself, to light a candle, to whisper a name, even if no one else knows it, to say, "You were real, you mattered, and I remember you." And to say to yourself, "I am not a bad mother, I am a grieving mother, and I, too, deserve healing." Thank you for being with us. See you next time.